Hey, Christy, Mattoon here from Rewire. Thank you for being here again. I appreciate, and I appreciate people who subscribe. If this is the first time to my channel, we talk about subconscious change. I talk a lot about heart coherence. I talk about things that some people won't talk about. And all just because this world is changing so fast, and if we're not willing to talk about it and be open about what we're doing or thinking. So you'll see things on my channel that might seem kind of weird, like me walking around blessing my house or dousing information. I've gotten a lot of scrutiny over that one. I just think it's funny, like your innate intuition will guide you a long way. When you tap into it and you understand it, it's kind of cool actually. And so take a look through my channel and see what pops out at you. And you'll also find Bible references, and I'll dive deep into like Psalms 91 the other day, because it's just a really powerful tool, right? It's a really powerful tool given to us humans to use for our benefit. And if you're not using it, you're missing out on some benefit. So I'm going to kind of cheat off my notes here today. And I want to talk to you about 3 primary causes for failure. Because right now we have moved into a new dimension, if you will, a new period of time. And in this period of time, it is very, very likely that you will either fail hard or you will succeed big. And because of the period of time, we have moved out of an age into a new age, right? So we're in a different period of time. What I want to tell you is that there are 3 primary causes that most people have an issue with that cause them to fail. The first one is fear, and we'll talk about fear in a second. The second one is emotions. Talk about emotions a lot. Fear is an emotion. And expectations. So we're going to go over those here just really super quickly. Fear is a sneaky little thing. Fear comes in all shapes and sizes and forms, and it is a belief system, right? If you're afraid of something, you have created a belief that you're afraid of it, or that you can't do something, or that something has to be just so for you to feel comfortable with it. Fear of what people will think, fear of your own abilities, right? We have fear about our own abilities, fear about giving availability to do something new, right? Fear will drive you to failure every single time. Fear is very low on the map of consciousness by Dr. David Hawkins. Fear is something that is actually kind of a base emotion. If you're looking at any other negative emotion, it probably falls under fear somewhere. So if you want to go for the pinpoint, if you want to go for the root cause, and you've got a negative emotion in there, try and pinpoint fear. And ask yourself, where am I afraid in here? If I've got doubt, if I'm self-sabotaging, I don't know, list all the negative emotions. I've got a chart up here on my wall. Dread, bad memory, sadness, yearning, confusion, unbelief, anguish, grief, defensiveness, timidity, unworthy, depression. All of these things will probably point back to something that caused fear in your system in a chemical form, cortisol and adrenaline, and all the other lovely, juicy things that incorporate fear. If you can point at the fear, if you can figure that out, and most people say, no, it's not fear, there's an underlying fear somewhere. It started, right? So you're looking for the root cause. That will take you faster to the root cause. And I have a video up here somewhere where we're using a whole brain state to release fear. And it's very simple. You find fear in your system. Find the feeling of fear in your body. See if you can feel it. Sometimes you have to trigger it by thinking of something that would scare you, right? So think of something that would give you cause that little boost of fear in your system. And then just kind of sit there noticing it. You want to be the curious observer. Don't fall face first into it. I think I lost my microphone. That was super funny. Don't fall face first into it. I hope the sound on that was catching. Be the curious observer and just feel it. Just notice it. Cross your arms and legs. Find the pattern that feels the strongest. If you don't know how to do this, go to my website under microdose courses and find a whole brain state and learn how to do that. It's very simple. It's only $77. I go through a number of lessons where I help you figure out how to do that. It's 1 3-hour, right? But you will learn how to do it. You get all the ins and outs. It's super simple. Once the feeling in your body changes, notice the new feeling. Some people will just say, oh, I don't feel anything. That not feeling anything is a feeling of peace. Hold on to peace, right? Hold on to peace. So fear is a big one. Fear is fear, and letting fear just kind of creep into your system will throw you off every single time. So another thing that causes fear, and I just want to throw this out there, is contacting the spirit realm, or knowing that you have contact with your own spirit. People are afraid of this, right? A lot of people are afraid of this. They worry about the more that they contact their own spirit or in contact with the spirit realm, that they could be affected by the dark side. And this is just really super sad. It isn't how it works. Heightening your own intuitions, your own abilities, releasing your own spirit and allowing it to work in your life, allowing it to move in your life, will never plunge you into darkness. Fear will plunge you into darkness. That's where the darkness comes from, is you have fear somewhere. And going through the process, you're going to probably feel fear. That's what plunges you into darkness, not getting in touch with your innate abilities, right? Your superhuman hero powers, which we all have. All right. What was the second one? The second one was emotions in general. Emotions are just a super interesting thing. Emotions are usually driven by a thought or a belief about something. If you have a thought or a belief about anything that's causing you an emotional disturbance, you're going to get stuck. You just will, especially if it's negative emotions, and sometimes even in heightened emotions, because we get too stuck in this thing of I have to be in joy, I have to be right in these higher level emotions, and you get yourself stuck. Because if you're not attaining it, now you're casting doubt on yourself and you're giving yourself, right? It turns into this huge quagmire. So don't do that to yourself. A level of peace or a level of neutrality will beat everything anytime. It just will. And it'll actually cause a level of joy. It'll cause a level of peace. Neutrality will. Understand emotions from the human aspect, the chemicals and hormones that cause your emotions. And the beliefs that you have based on those emotions are what cause the sticking points. If you could get rid of the beliefs, right? This is the subconscious change stuff. If you could get rid of the beliefs, all of a sudden you're emotionally available, which means you're energetically available. Your energy is available for better things, for other things. Okay? So emotions will get in the way 100% of the time. So you want to be in your emotional home, inside your heart space. This is Heart Coherence. If you don't know Heart Coherence, again, go to my website, find the microdose courses under the Work With Me page, sign up for the Heart Coherence class. It's only $77, right? There's simple, short little classes that give you all the ins and outs and take you even a little bit further. I give you tons of information in those, and there's no screwing around. We go right to work, okay? So go check that out if you need to know heart coherence and a level of heart coherence that will take you deeper. The emotional availability, right, to yourself will cause you to go further faster. A level of neutrality or a level of peace for everything, for anything, is going to be way better than letting yourself spin in circles because you can't quite get to joy. You can't quite get to bliss, right? Sometimes it takes a little time. You got to be gentle with yourself. So the emotions will always hinder your intuitive success and your spiritual success if you don't get them under your control. Does that make sense? Emotions take energy and clarity away from intuition. This is why we want neutrality. Emotions will take energy and clarity away from your intuition. It's interesting when you start understanding this, right? Because we're always trying to get into this higher state and we want to raise our vibration. That can throw you off, right? I have found neutrality to be a way, first of all, easier state to stay in. And it doesn't mean you're neutral to issues or situations. It means you're neutral in your emotional base. I don't have to lose or give my emotional availability to something or someone just because they go off the deep end. I can stay neutral to it. I can say yes or no and just be totally neutral. Does it make sense? If you're losing clarity and you can't find your intuition, check your emotions. That's a good tip right there. All right. Expectations. It's a huge blockage. Expectations. The old Oxford Dictionary states an expectation is a strong belief and something that something will happen or be the case. It also describes expectation as a standard performance of something or someone, right? So if we have expectations about anything, you're probably going to go off track. Expectations will cause you all day long to fall apart. And in this season that we're in right now, your expectations are going to make a huge difference. If you expect that something's going to happen in a certain way and it doesn't, what happens to your emotional availability? These are all tied together, right? If you are expecting a person to be a certain way or to do a certain thing and they aren't and they don't, what happens to your emotional availability? You're giving your energy away is essentially what happens. Expectations limit perceptions of the world, our perceptions of the world. If you're expecting and being an expectation about anything, it's going to limit your ability to have a perception about the world, or it's going to skew your perception about the world. Does that make sense? An expectation, this is a good one. An expectation is a strong thought that restricts all other possibilities. If I'm expecting something to be a certain way, I'm restricting other possibilities, other things that could potentially happen, right? The field of potential all of a sudden really narrows if I'm in expectation. And it will affect your emotional stability, your emotional home, your emotional integrity to yourself. This is super important stuff, guys. So if you are stuck, if you are having a blockage, if you can't seem to get around yourself or work out of your own issues and situations, either contact me at Christy@mindrewire.com and let's set up a little free 30-minute session where I can talk to you and give you other information perhaps, or even get you going in some sessions that might help you stabilize the system and move yourself forward. Or go check out those microdose courses. They're the super simple, easy way to get into all this, super inexpensive, and to get you moving in a better direction. This world is not going to ever be the same after 2020. 2020 was the year of change, and everybody at the beginning of 2020, so funny, we were all expecting these great, huge changes, and then COVID happened. And then all the changes were like, oh, and you could have taken it one way or the other depending on your emotional availability, right? So interesting. And even now, the choice is yours, right? We're finding more and more our choices weigh so much into our belief system. What are you choosing to believe in this moment in time right now? I choose. What do you choose? I'm on a path right now of choosing joy. That's my new one. I chose gratitude for a long time. I chose compassion for a long time until I learned compassion. And now I'm choosing joy until I learn joy. All right. Bless you. Thank you for being here. Share if this helps you. It'll probably help somebody else. And subscribe to my channel. I gratefully appreciate it.